with sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen close or just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Rock Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonts of the World of Blaze Podcast, to Josh in New Hampshire, to Ken Madden, to Bill from Clockham Craft Coffee, and to our most recent addition to the club, Lisa. Thank you guys for the continued support. It means the world to me. It really does. It means a lot to me. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it gets kind of hokey trying to come up with something original every fucking episode, but here we are. I do my best, and hopefully you guys still feel like it's worthy of the time and attention and everything. Anyway, first thing, there is been some changes in the recording setup here. We're going to be, angles probably look a little different. I probably look a little different. Lighting looks a little different. I've been messing with things over the weekend. Had some stuff going on. Still have stuff going on that hasn't happened. It's kind of like I keep saying, it's like, oh, I got all this other shit going on, so I don't have anything prepared, but I do have thoughts about stuff that's going on in the world, because as much as I have other shit distracting me, I am not living under a fucking rock. Where to start? Well, there's the great big Cheeto-dusted elephant in the room is probably going to be my thoughts about what's going on with what happened in Iran. Because if you are living under a rock and this is the only place you get your news for some fucking reason, which to the life of me, I cannot figure out why this would be the only place you go to get your information about what's going on in the fucking world. So the U.S. and Israel in a joint strike basically knocked out the entire Islamist regime that was heading over Iran, which is, like I said, that's the big orange-colored elephant in the fucking room this week. That is what we're going to talk about. It's going to be, I have a lot of thoughts on the matter. Some of them probably won't surprise you if you've been listening to me for any amount of time. Some of them, realistically, you might be surprised by the way I feel about certain aspects of things. Now, one of the first primary things is, for a guy who ran on a campaign of no more foreign actions or interventions, Trump seems to be getting us into a lot of shit, on an international scale at this point. Yeah, he's ended a lot of fucking conflicts. He's basically, I probably bullied a lot of the fucking countries into saying, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time we stop doing the shit before we get Americaned. Now, in terms of the people we have taken military actions against and the immediate reaction from every fucking clown show leftist smooth brain fucktard out there, or, oh, well, he started another war. He doesn't have authority to this. I would take them more seriously if it wasn't the same bunch of people who were utterly fucking silent for the entirety of the Obama administration, where he performed all kinds of military actions in that same general region without the authorization of Congress. Now, that's the first thing. People, oh, well, he's getting us into another war. Technically, and this is true, and it's a case of, this is why I don't like the War Powers Act, but Congress is the only way we can officially be in a war. And under the War Powers Act, he has 60 days to carry out military operations that don't require the authorization from Congress to say, yes, we're going to war. We're going to put our troops in harm's way. And that's just the reality of the situation as it currently sits. And like I said, I won't take you seriously about this shit if you weren't up in arms when Obama did it. If you weren't up in arms when fucking Biden was doing it. I mean, granted, Biden didn't do much of it, but still, every president since, I want to say fucking Kennedy, has used the War Powers Act, at least to some extent, to do shit. And in the case of this particular regime, I don't have a problem with it because, well, for a couple of reasons. First off, you're talking about the Islamist state in Iran, who they seized power. The vast majority of the country wanted them out of power. They refused to relinquish power. They held on to it with a fucking death grip. The Islamic State in Iran was literally the fascist dictator, tyrannical fucking government that every leftist retard in the United States claims the Orange Man is. Now, one of my biggest problems in life is intellectual dishonesty, and that is intellectually dishonest. If you're going to try and equate what's going on in the United States with a tyrannical regime, and then you're going to come to the defense of an actual tyrannical regime, you're not a serious person. I don't take you seriously at that point. I don't think anything that comes out of your mouth is probably smarter than fucking, I like the best crayons because they are shiny and bright, and not mommy says I can have them to write my words with so I don't hurt myself, because if I use a pencil, I might get an ouchie. That's realistically about the same degree of respect I will show you if you will sit there protesting that and screaming about how fascist America is while defending an actual tyrannical regime that killed their own citizens for having the audacity to protest. Because for the short-term memory, motherfuckers, a couple months ago, Iranian citizens were out in the streets en masse saying we don't want Islamic rule in our country anymore. We want to go back to being a great Persian nation where people are allowed to live their lives and live their best lives and live the freedoms according to the way they have without being persecuted for it. And this fucking government that has subsequently been eradicated, basically, for all intents and purposes, went out and mowed down their own citizens, killed thousands of citizens that were just out there protesting. They weren't doing anything violent. They weren't trying to overthrow the government. They were protesting, and they were killed for it. This is a culture that takes the alphabet people and throws them off of really high buildings. Meanwhile, in America, the alphabet people who have no real problems in their lives, even though they want to cry oppression every fucking opportunity they get, are out there defending this regime. The Free Palestine motherfuckers never said a word about the fucking horrific activities being carried out by the Islamic regime on their own citizens. It's a case of, if you're out there defending that their regime got overthrown and saying it's tyrannical, globalist, yada, 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 whatever, you're a fucking retard. I don't respect you. I don't respect your beliefs, your thoughts, or your ideas. And you can go fuck yourself with a cactus because you are an idiot. And I realistically hope you haven't reproduced. I hope you don't breed. People like you are probably one of the reasons why I will never say abortion should be outlawed, because I don't want people like you spawning and further diluting the gene pool in this country. And, that seems to go hand in hand with those particular values is, yeah, if you get knocked up, you're going to use abortion like a birth control. But on the other hand, you probably shouldn't be contributing to the gene pool overall. So that's one of those sticky wickets. Like I don't agree with it. I don't believe in it. I think I was okay with the idea of infrequently under extreme circumstances, but the people who use it like birth control are just scum fucks, and they're irresponsible and lazy because they can't be bothered to use a fucking rubber. But I don't mean to go off on that particular tear. I'm going to talk about Iran and the fact that we bombed the living shit out of them, which is pretty much exactly what Trump said he was going to do. That's one thing about the guy. He doesn't mince words. He doesn't speak political, and he doesn't, bend over when he says, like, Obama was really good for saying, hey, we told them not to do this shit, and they're not going to do it because we told them not to. And then they would do it anyway, and he'd say, hey, I told you don't do that. If you do it again, there's going to be... there was a whole lot... Obama was like one of those parents who would yell at their kids in the fucking grocery store and then still wind up buying them a toy on the way out. It's fucking retarded. And I mean that like in the most literal sense of the word, because he sent them pallets full of cash at the end of his term. Biden did the exact same thing, unfroze millions and billions of dollars that the Iranian government could use, despite the fact that they were like violating their nuclear treaty, which everybody's like, oh, well, Trump ripped that up when Obama had a nuclear deal with Iran and Trump ripped it up. They weren't honoring it. So who gives a fuck if it existed or not? That's the entire point. They were still working on enriching uranium. They were enriching it well past the point of what you need to run a nuclear reactor. They were trying to say, well, we have a right to develop uranium enrichment for our power plants. But you only need to enrich it to a certain point for that. You need to enrich it to a much higher point to make fissile material for weapons. And that's what they were fucking working on. They were well past the point of being able to run generators and well into the territory of we are going to make shit to fucking kill people. Why? Because they were a fucking terrorist regime government. So as much as I don't want to see America getting involved in international conflicts, America getting involved in anything in the fucking Middle East in particular, but around the world, we don't need to be fucking, holding the binkies and smacking the noses for the entire fucking planet. It's a case of these fucking clowns is they were literally on a very regular basis under every leader in their fucking system, regularly out there chanting death to America, death to the West. People are saying, oh, well, he should have used diplomatic measures or he should have used sanctions. All of those things had been tried. Not a single fucking one of them changed the fucking narrative at all. Because to a certain kind of person, they don't respect those approaches. They don't share the same values. They don't want us to be their equals or on par. They want us either subjected to them, where they are the masters and we are the slaves, or they want us eradicated. Us, our way of lives, our values, our beliefs are completely compatible with every ideal they hold true. You can't negotiate with people like that. You can't live and let live with people who want you dead. So I really don't have a problem that he blew this motherfucker into the fucking dust. Furthermore, I don't have a problem with, they also, I believe the Ayatollah in Iran's successor lasted 9 hours, 8 hours. Yeah. And then they killed him too. And they're going to keep killing people that they try and replace them with other people of the same ilk, because like I said, Trump doesn't give a fuck. At the end of the day, they did the thing that has already been proven once. You don't do. You don't say, hey, come get me, I'm not afraid of you, because this guy will come fucking get you. Ask Nicolas Maduro how that works out. They yoinked that motherfucker in his pajamas in the middle of the fucking night. Now, I could go into the, the theory saying, oh, he was, he knew they were coming and that's why they caught him and all the other shit. I personally still tend to lean into the idea that we are the most well-funded, well-financed, and well-trained military on the fucking planet, and that's why they yoinked him with very little fucking pushback and no casualties. But it's a case of, at the end of the day, don't tell this motherfucker, hey, you won't fucking do it, neener, neener, neener. Trump is not the kind of guy you thumb your fucking nose at, because he's going to do it anyway and then deal with the blowback after the fact. He's not trying to get elected to a third term. He doesn't fucking care. And there's a lot of other stuff that, people are originally saying he was just doing it to help Israel. Now, granted, Israel will benefit from the removal of the Islamic Jihad regime in Iran. So will every fucking buddy else. That's the point where, again, you lose me on that talking point. I don't want to be getting involved in bullshit all around the globe. I don't want to be fucking policing the world. But at the same time, I also don't have a problem with taking out people who are actively wishing for my fucking death. It's a case of it's retarded. There was a lot of intel allegedly that there was going to be a bunch of strikes coming out of Iran in the coming time, because they originally had brokered some deal where it was like, okay, we got a couple of weeks to figure this out. We're going to stand down. We're going to have a ceasefire. And then they got intel that they were going to break this ceasefire like they've done with every other fucking one that's come along. And they were going to strike U.S. targets in the Middle East. And they've been, they touched our boats, which is a cardinal sin as far as I can tell. I'm really kind of surprised that they haven't, glassed more areas there. To the credit of our country, they do try to limit collateral damage in these military strikes. Our country has a very unique approach to actually treating civilians and women and children as they should be treated, whereas these people that we're striking at have a tendency to use them as human fucking shields to build their military bases either adjacent or underneath hospitals and fucking schools, because they're counting on the ideals that the West will not strike women and children and the sick and the elderly and the infirm. And they use that to their advantage, which just tells you what absolute scumfucks these fucking people are. It's a disgusting state of affairs that is completely avoidable and somehow still not avoided, because, again, we don't share anything. We don't share the core values. They're not respecting us in saying, oh, well, they won't do, they view it as weakness. They look at it as a case of it's just utterly fucking retarded that we are willing to give them this giant fucking blind spot to hide in. It's not respected. It's not I mean, they'll scream about how we're doing horrific shit to their women and their children and their sick and their infirm, but they won't stop putting their fucking bunkers underneath the hospitals either. So, do with that what you will. It's a case of the little brother that sits there and fucking throws rocks at you until you turn around and deck him, and then he cries to your mom that you fucking hit him. It's the same mentality. It's this like, oh, well, you can't do that, so I'm going to keep doing this shit. And when you do something, you're the fucking bad guy. I can't stand it. Now, there's been some fucking, some fuck ups going along with this, and it's an ongoing military action. And you have to kind of sit back and look at it objectively, too. And you have to give a lot of credit. I've said this in the past. Well, I don't want to be, a vassal state to Israel. So anybody that's going to come up and say I'm some fucking asshole that's saying, hey, you know what? Yes, we have to fight them. They're our most valued ally, and da 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 da. No, but however, I do respect their efficiency. I respect the hell out of the Mossad. They're probably some of the most efficient fucking spooks on the fucking planet. And they did things like seating in sleeper cells in Iran fucking decades ago and activating them when this action happened. So they had intel that was fucking impeccable. They knew where people were. They knew who was with them. They knew what was going to fucking happen. They probably knew what fucking underwear the guy was wearing when they fucking nuked him. But I'm sorry, I shouldn't say nuked. They didn't use any nuclear weapons. They used conventional ordinances. And it's one of those things too. And I'm willing to bet, the other world superpowers, even the ones who were, saber rattling about how Iran was their ally. And again, they're not talking about the Iranian people. They're not talking about the Persians who actually deserve to be liberated and free. They're talking about these fucking, rancid, fetid fucking pieces of shit that were in the government, subjugating, abusing, and fucking committing atrocities on their fucking own people. So again, I like I said, I don't want to be involved in these things, but if they got to do it, God damn it, the way the Orange Man is doing things is the right fucking way to do it. It is targeted tactical actions. It is minimizing collateral damage. It is minimizing casualties. And most of the major fuck ups, like Iran immediately comes out and, oh my God, they bombed one of our schools. Come to find out, it was a fucking Iranian missile that misfired and crashed into a fucking school and blew the fucking thing up. But immediately they take to, every platform they can to disseminate the idea that it was struck by a missile from the West, even though it wasn't. And a lot of these fucking smooth-brained retards are out there running with it. Oh, well, they're targeting schools and fucking knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing sacks of shit who have nothing to contribute to society other than propaganda that highlights their core value of OrangeManBad and everything this man does is bad. I will criticize Trump as much as I fucking want anytime he does something I think is stupid. I will not say this was a bad fucking play because the Iranian people deserve to be free. One of the things he said about it was, okay, we've taken out this regime. The country is yours. You have to seize it. He's not wrong. And realistically, these people need to govern themselves. We don't need to go in there and set up a fucking puppet state. We don't need to go up there and set up friendly dictators that are going to be embedded to the U.S. and indebted to the U.S., where it's going to be they're just doing what we say because we say so, because we're the reason they're there. These people need to reestablish self-governance, go back to how it was in 1978 before they fucking all of a sudden got a fucking Iranian Islamist state in place. Back when they were a lender nation, back when they were a profitable nation. It's a beautiful country with beautiful people. Wonderful things could happen there when they're not under some oppressive, knuckle-dragging, backwoods fucking philosophy that teaches them they have to be shit. It just enervates me to the point of fucking damn near not having anything to say, which for me is a very rare condition to be in, where this shit infuriates me. The people who want to come out here and say we're in the wrong for doing this and we're trying to establish empires. We're not empire building. We're saying, hey, guess what? These guys fucking suck. They kill their own people. They've been funding terrorism around the fucking globe for decades. And we decided we're not letting it happen anymore. And more importantly, fuck that guy. I hope he's enjoying his 72 fucking goats as he burns in hell. But again, that's my take on the matter. Now, I also have concerns that are tied into this matter, particularly because the last 4 years where we've had unvetted mass immigration into this country, I'm sure there are hundreds of sleeper cells in our country right now that probably just lost their financing, probably just lost everything that was keeping them quiet and settled in. And we've already seen a few things. It's just hard to say whether it's actually coordinated, organized terror cell attacks or if it's just fucking individual radicalized people who are going to go out there and start stirring up shit because they feel like it's justified for some fucking reason. They decided this is the move that's going to kick off their fucking jihad. They've decided it's holy war and now it's time to stand. None of that shit realistically seems like a good play. In terms of, if the nation state that was backing you is on the fucking ropes, it might be time to kick back and go, I've been living here under cover of, I'm blanking on the fucking word, but the Islamic doctrine that allows you to live a haram lifestyle in the name of blending in with the people you're there to fucking jihad against. Maybe you should just realize, hey, beer and bacon is fucking awesome, and I'm just going to assimilate and be an American. Or I'm going to fuck off and get out before they find me and go live somewhere where these ideas are going to fucking, take root and exist, and go to one of the other, now it's 51 Islamic run countries in the world. Go move to fucking Great Britain if you want to be that way. They seem to be the next ones to fall. And that's something else that pisses me off about the situation. Great Britain and France immediately, we had nothing to do with this. We know you didn't have anything to do with it, you fucking jagoffs, because you're conquered nations. You are weak. You are failed. You are fucking taken control of. You're not the fucking, nobody cares that Great Britain wasn't involved in this action. Nobody. And nobody really cares that France wasn't involved. You know why? Because they have Islamic caliphates being set up there. It's ridiculous. It's infuriating. It drives me nuts. It bothers me in a lot of ways. But like I said, contingent on that, we've already had some, for lack of any other way to describe it without being inaccurate, we've already had some Islamic terrorism incidents in the United States. It's been 2 fucking days. We had a shooter pull up outside of a club in Austin, and he dumped and I think he killed 3 people and wounded 22 or something like that. And he got taken out within like a minute and a half, but it was enough time for him to cause some chaos. They found a fucking copy of the Quran in his fucking truck. He was wearing a hoodie that said property of Allah, and he had a t-shirt on underneath it that had the Iranian fucking flag on it. So it's just, yeah, it's a very frustrating situation for me. And like I said, the fact that we've had years of unvetted indoctrination in our country, the fact that we've had a whole bunch of situations that realistically should be, entirely avoidable scenarios. If we were enforcing the bare fucking minimum of, this is a case of, you have to prove you're not here to cause trouble and stir shit up. And realistically, even the vetting we had was not great prior to the Biden administration, but they just let everybody in. I saw a thing today, and I haven't had the time to vet it because, again, I had other stuff going on. But they estimate that the catch and release system under the Biden administration knowingly let 700 Middle Eastern illegals into the country, caught them, got their information, and released them out into the country. So that alone, 700 individuals, let's assume they dispersed and didn't all hang out together, because let's be honest, that's not the way it fucking works. So these 700 individuals went out, found people who probably went to college campuses, radicalized a bunch of fucking bored white kids with fucking liberal arts degrees, and they're setting up their own little cells. And these fucking morons, these leftist retards, these brain dead puppets are going to be out there, funneling them food and money and resources while they're plotting how to overthrow the country, because a bunch of un-American shitheads that grew up here with no real strife in their fucking life have decided that that's the right way to deal with things. And it's a case of, it's realistically, it bothers me. It hurts my soul that people that I consider, my countrymen, seem to think that that this is okay. This is the way to do it, because they don't want to go out and work. They don't want to go out and earn. They want everything fucking handed to them. And they fall into an ideology that's willing to use that to get what they want out of it, which is destruction of our way of life. These retards all think they're going to have some kind of better situation under this fucking storied, idyllic fantasy that lives in their fucking heads, while ignoring the reality of what this kind of structure does everywhere it's been implemented ever in the fucking history of the planet. It's infuriating, the degree of retardedness that comes out of these fucking clowns. and it bothers me. So we've seen a couple, mass casualty incidents going on. Like I said, I believe 3 people died in Austin. There was another shooting um, Sunday. I haven't heard as many details about that one, but I want to say it was like 23 injured, 2 or 3 killed as well. They haven't released as much information about the shooter in that situation. That was up north somewhere. I want to say up in the Northeast. There was one in, I believe, North Carolina as well. I don't have a lot of information on that one. As I said, I had some other stuff I was doing today, and I didn't get as much information put together as I would have liked before this. And so, yeah, these are things that are going to be happening. And if like me, I'm already at the point where I don't leave the house without a gun anyway. If you don't believe in firearms, you don't agree in firearms, there are things out there that are non-lethal if you have a problem with taking somebody else's life who's out there trying to take yours, and you, for whatever reason, you don't want to defend yourself with lethal force. There are things out there. I can't think of it. It's like Bryna. It's basically a CO2 powered gun. But you don't have to pass a background check. You don't, you can be a felon and buy one because it's not a firearm, does not use any kind of combustion, launches a projectile that's non-lethal, that theoretically can incapacitate a person for up to a half hour. It has a muzzle velocity of like 2,800 feet per second on this little fucking plastic projectile it shoots. It's non-lethal. It could defend you, I guess. And if that's the approach you want to take, but you might want to go out and consider getting something like that. And you definitely, which is kind of going to lead into the second point I have for today, is all of the fucking clowns out there who just recently discovered the Second Amendment is a thing. All these leftist jokers who are all of a sudden screaming, "Oh, well, we have a right to come out and get guns too." Yeah, you fucking do. And you need to buy them. You need to become proficient with them. You need to practice and train. And I say that you learn the rules of responsible firearm ownership. Don't be fucking retarded. But at the same time, in a lot of ways, you need to realize your ideology is not going to protect you from the people who you are feeling this suicidal empathy for. And you need to understand that if you're carrying a gun and you see a fucking Islamist out there just shooting fucking Americans, there's a very real chance, it doesn't matter how much of a fucking ally you are, you're going to have to defend yourself from that motherfucker too. You can't look at him and go, well, he's brown and he's wearing a fucking, Allah is my fucking homeboy t-shirt. He'll understand I'm on his side. He doesn't fucking care, you fucking dolts. He wants you dead too because you are a Western fucking corrupt piece of shit in his mind. Doesn't matter if you're chanting that he needs to be free and he has equal rights. He doesn't feel the same way about you, you fucking slack-jawed idiots. He thinks you are the corruption that our society has allowed to exist, and to a certain extent, it's not fucking wrong, because our society is the only one that not only embraces but coddles these fucking retards and tells them it's okay, you don't have to live in reality because society will keep you safe and protect you, and it will, right up to the point where somebody else comes along that doesn't feel that way and fucking kills you while you're defending them. It's a fucking ridiculous condition to be living under. It is pathetic. It is weak-minded. It is a failed mindset that these assholes haven't actually seen the real consequences of yet, because the people they hate and the people they are protesting against are the ones protecting them from the consequences of their own fucking thoughts. Sorry, that's a lot. I was actually starting to run out of some breath right there. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that matter. And then, there's been some other stuff going on. Zohan Marami, and a lovely twist of irony in the snowstorm that came through there last week, has put together a program using city funds to pay people to come out and shovel, and to volunteer shovel crew, which I don't think I talked about this last week. I found it fucking hilarious that they did this. And I think that's actually a great use of taxpayer dollars, to pay people to come out and shovel snow in the event of a storm you're not prepared for. Howsoever, it was kind of funny to me and to a lot of other people that are, either kind of centrist or like I consider myself, or even the people on the right, who were saying, the ironic thing is the same guy who said voting ID is racist wanted people to bring, I think it was originally 5 forms of ID, but it got changed back to 2 or 3 forms of ID to verify who they were and that they were citizens of New York and that they had ID, because they were paying them, $30 an hour to shovel or whatever, which I got to be honest is a great fucking rate for fucking pushing some snow around. But not a single person misses the irony of they're being paid with tax dollars that they were subsequently taxed on that has more than a room temperature IQ. I think it's fucking hilarious. And these idiots didn't have a problem taking their IDs to go out and get $30 an hour to go shovel. So they actually probably got about $18 an hour after taxes. But this is, New York. It might even be less. And at the end of the day, we had to give ID so we could get paid, but they don't want to give ID to vote. So I don't understand how you can hold that many disparate ideas in your mind and still think you're fucking right. I don't understand how you can think you have the sane take on life when you can say things make perfect sense for X, Y, and Z. When you're one of those assholes who said you need to show me your vaccine papers to go fucking grocery shopping or to leave your fucking house, but you don't need to prove you have a right to participate in our electoral process because that's racist and bigoted and phobic. And you see all these degrees of this fucking bigotry of low expectations that I have come to expect from modern leftists, because it's just fucking glaring at this point. Oh, well, black people are, they can't get IDs, or it's too hard for them, or they can't find their birth certificate. That's another one. Fucking Bernie Sanders and Gavin Newsom both came out and said, oh, well, I don't, under the SAVE Act, I wouldn't be able to vote because I don't know where my birth certificate is. Really? Well, how'd you get your paperwork filed so you could pay your taxes? How did you prove you had a fucking governmental regulated right to be elected if you can't prove you're a U.S. citizen? You fucking retarded sacks of shit. Your arguments don't hold up under scrutiny. They don't hold up under logic because they're fucking bullshit. Bunch of knuckle-dragging shitheads supporting these freeloading governmental parasite motherfuckers. I swear to God, I hate them all. The older I get, the less tolerant I'm becoming of stupid shit. I still, I at the end of the day, I like people for all the fact that I hate people. I still, expect, I always hope for the best when I'm interacting with people. I'm friends with a lot of people I don't agree with about a lot of shit. That's just the way it works. But in the same breath, motherfuckers who I expect better from will say this same kind of logical fallacy bullshit and then try and justify it by saying, well, that's how I feel about it. I don't give a fuck how you feel. Your feelings are a you situation. Your feelings don't matter to me. Your feelings don't change something into truth just because that's how you feel about it. The truth is the truth. The fact is a fact. It's not a matter of perspective. It's not how you look at it. It's logical conclusions of points. And you can't say, well, logically, I feel this way. No, because you just negated the logical part by stating the feeling part. Feelings and logic are basically oil and water. They don't fucking blend. It's a case of this shit is utterly ridiculous, and people will think they're fucking making their point with this, oh, well, I'm going to show you with great gusto how wrong you are because my justification for why you're wrong is how I feel about the situation. No, you don't win. You didn't score points. A debate would not award you the win for that. I mean, it might now because our educational system is absolutely fucking retarded. It's run by it's indoctrinated. It's fucking infiltrated. It's worthless in terms of actual education. They don't teach people how to think anymore. They teach them what to think. And it's a fucking failed system that produces these slack-jawed retards that are marching in lockstep to their own fucking extinction. That's a lot of words. I talk a whole lot and don't say much, huh? But at the end of the day, it's a case of this shit just infuriates me. Like I said, I don't want to be the world's police. I don't want to have to be out there smacking people on the nose and saying you're garbage human beings. But in the case of the Iranian government, I will not lose an iota of sleep over it. I'm concerned about the fucking potential repercussions and blowbacks in our society due to the lack of security in our own nation. But at the end of the day, this is a good thing. You're not going to say anything from anything other than an emotional stance that could convince me otherwise. And your emotions, as I said, don't fucking matter to me. So I don't care if you feel like it's wrong. I don't care if you feel like it was out of line. Because honestly, as I said, these are people who want us dead. They want our way of life destroyed. Your empathy towards them does not change that in the fucking least, because that is what you call a fact. Their own words, actions, deeds, and over the last 4.5 fucking decades, the way they have financed terror cells that actively work to destroy us, our way of lives, everyone you ever cared about is considered garbage and subhuman to these fucking clowns, and you're out here defending them. You suck. You're part of the fucking problem. I'm never going to bemoan the death of someone who was regularly on social media and on television chanting death to America. I feel the same way about the retards here that are out in the streets protesting, waving signs that say shit in that same fucking vein. It's fucking retarded. Your suicidal empathy is going to get us all fucked. I don't support you. I don't endorse you. You have a right to hold whatever stupid fucking beliefs you want. That's your right as a human. That's your right as an American citizen. The only country in the world that actually enshrines your rights in legal doctrine, although you motherfuckers are doing your best to overturn that basic founding principle of this country, you are still subject to that fact. It's a fact, whether I like it or not. Whether I think you're too fucking stupid to have your opinion count as much as mine does, it's still your right. You're still an American citizen. You're in part of the only country in the world where you have that fucking right, where you can dissent and not worry about having your life taken or being thrown in prison for the rest of your days without talking to another human being. Things that happen in all these shithole countries that these morons are fucking championing. But you can't tell them that because they don't feel that way. They feel like we're tyrannical. If we were the shithole country they seem to think we are, they wouldn't be in a position where they could do this shit. But they are. And they're allowed to. And it's their right to. You're allowed to hold whatever retarded fucking beliefs you want. You're not allowed to fucking force me to agree with those fucking beliefs. You're not allowed to tell me I'm a bad guy because I don't believe that you can fucking just wish something and have it happen. You're not allowed to tell me that I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, you're allowed to tell me, but I don't have to fucking care that you think I'm a horrible person. You think I'm a mean guy, whatever. I treat you with the exact same degree of respect and decency you show to me. Period. Full stop. You're not going to return that consideration. You will lose that really fucking quick because that's how it's supposed to work. You know, golden rule, whatever, however you want to phrase it, however you want to turn it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people how you want to be treated. Don't be a fucking dick. It's all the same shit at the end of the fucking day. And these retards don't seem to understand that. Their idea is you have to treat people how I want them treated, not how they treat you, not how you think you should be treated, not how you want to be treated. You have to treat people the way I want to be treated. Well, you're not that fucking special. You're not that fucking important. You're definitely not that fucking interesting. And none of them are that fucking good. But they all have this fucking entitled sense of stupid. So they're out there, oh, well, you know, America's a fascist regime and we stand with Iran, free Iran. That's what we just did, you fucking dolts. I mean, the local anti-war protests, like they were trying to coordinate one in Chicago, and of course it picked up traction because all the commie fucking retards in the CTU were all on board with it, and every leftist mouth breather in the fucking city was out. Oh no! Oh well, they scheduled it at 6:00 on a fucking Sunday. Yeah, because I mean, what they were all had to come from jobs. Pfft, I doubt it. If you look at any of these fucking protests, you don't see fucking hardworking Americans. You see fucking people with nothing else to do with their time because they can't get a job other than pouring coffee with their worthless college degrees, or they're geriatric failed hippies that didn't get to protest Vietnam, so now this is their chance to go out and make a stink. That's why you see so many fucking white-headed motherfuckers at these fucking protests. Bored, liberal, geriatric white fucking people that missed their chance to be relevant, and now they feel like this is their last fucking hurrah. I can't stand any of them. They all fucking need to go get a hobby, get a fucking pet, go to a rescue and volunteer. Do something fucking constructive with your time instead of this performative fucking nonsense on behalf of people who want you killed. You fucking retards. So yeah, that was kind of what I got on that. I would like to reiterate once again, podcast people, send me fucking promos. I need to go on the Boomer Bunker Discord, which you guys can do by going to boomerbunker.com/Discord. Join the Discord, log into their shit. You can go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com and join my Discord from there if you want to go into a nice quiet Discord where there's not a lot going on. But yeah, John's constantly giving me shit that I haven't downloaded any of the clips from there because there are promos there, but that also involves me not being lazy, so it hasn't happened yet.
Join Bruce and Ken on the Weathered Report, where sharp takes, real conversation, and a dose of humor cut through the noise of the week. From classic cars to politics, culture, and the American spirit, no topic is off limits. Every episode brings fresh stories, lively discussion, and the kind of straight talk you won't hear anywhere else. Stay weathered, but never worn down. Catch Bruce and Ken every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, exclusively live on Rumble and YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, so that was the Weathered Report. Great show, great guys. Did give me a chance to kind of check out the chat here. again, you should go out, actually go check out on Instagram. I'm going to post a picture of the changes I made in the studio here. McShane, who happens to be in the chat, hey buddy, pointed out when I showed the picture on the razor wire chat, he referred to it, it's turning into a war room, and he's not wrong, but in particular in context of, we just had the whole Iran thing going on. But yeah, so let's see, we got a couple comments in here. Bob, who's been chatty in the chat today, thanks Bob, appreciate it. And I can actually see the chat better during the thing, but I keep looking away from the camera because the camera's over here and the chat's over there. But Bob pointed out China had a weapon that they offered Iran to use against our ships in the region, which could be part of the reason the strike happened preemptively to stop Iran from doing something stupid with Chinese weaponry. Yeah, because if they would have actually caused real damage to the boats, we probably would have turned the whole fucking area into a sheet of glass because the U.S. is touchy about their boats. Bob also pointed out that Kuwait owes us about $291 million for they friendly fired shot down 3 of our jets that were operating in the area. I don't know a lot about details about that. I know the pilots ejected. Everybody was fine. But yeah, they shot down 3 of our really expensive fucking planes. So Kuwait's going to owe us some bread on that one. Bob said his local anti-war protest had 17 people in it. That's sounds about right. Like I said, the Chicago one was pretty fucking big, but like I said, it's because there's a bunch of bored liberals that have nothing better to do with their time because they don't do anything contributory to society. Let's see. Shauna in the chat pointed out that in the 70s, the people of Iran were happy and well off, and they don't support this government. They want to change back and then back us. So it'll be, that would be good. Let's see. Obama was in the same boat because of a birth certificate. Yeah, no, being able to provide you proof that you actually should be holding the office you're in. It's kind of problematic if you say you can't vote because of that shit, because how'd you get in office in the first place, cocksucker? Let's see what else. McShane in the chat. Supreme Court upheld parental rights for kids transitioning. Just dropped in about an hour or so ago. As I've said many, many times, you should realistically be listening to Razor Wire. They are way better at bringing the fucking receipts for the things they talk about. I get on here and I vent my spleen about things that I'm thinking about, so I don't get an ulcer. They will actually present facts and information. Of course, they give their takes on things, but they give you the information so you can make up your own fucking mind. It's a phenomenal show, and you should be listening to it. Plus, you're going to learn a lot of shit about beer you probably didn't know, so good on them for that, too. Love the boys over at Razor Wire. They're phenomenal people. I love all my podcast friends. But, so that's cool. That's actually great. I'm kind of surprised. I'm sure Katani, I can't talk, KJB. I'm sure she probably said, I don't understand this concept about 12 million times in her dissent, saying, I don't understand what a woman is, so how can the kids not transition because they don't know what they are either? Because, again, retarded take on life. Failed parents are the ones that are fucking leaning into this bullshit. My kid's going to tell me who they are and I should believe them. No, your kid probably thought they were a superhero at some point. They probably thought they had powers. It doesn't mean you should go let them jump off the fucking roof because they believe they can fly. It doesn't mean you should have them going to put out a fire because they think they're a fucking fire truck. That doesn't mean your kid, kids are fucking children. They are not supposed to be making life-altering decisions before they fucking understand things like consequences. Kids who fucking touch the stove 2 or 3 times before they realize hot is bad and causes ouch. These motherfuckers can't be telling you they were born in the wrong body. There were no children coming up with this shit until some twisted ass adult put the idea in their fucking head. That is not a concept that is native to a fucking child. And if you're endorsing that shit, you're a piece of garbage. I'm sorry. Once you're an adult and you have reached a point of fucking maturity where you can make your decisions, and honestly, I don't think it should be 18. Science has proven that the front of our cortex doesn't actually fully develop until we're about 24, 25. But, if you have reached the age of majority in your particular area and where you're actually responsible for the choices you make, where you have to bear the consequences of the choices you make, if you reach that point and you're still not happy with the body you were born in or whatever other nonsense you're operating through, and you don't want to get counseling and get steered into a better mental space, do what you need to do to fucking feel whole. I don't care. I don't give a shit what a grown ass adult does with their own life. Doesn't matter to me at fucking all. You should not be doing that shit to undeveloped children who have no concept of consequences. Toddlers and infants can't tell you, oh, daddy, mommy, I was born in the wrong body. I think I'm a girl. Yeah, well, last week you thought you were a fucking unicorn, kid. You're going to have to figure shit out. You've got a long time to go until you manage to do it. Get where you're going. When I was a kid, we went through trends like, thank God there's no pictures of me wearing those fucking Jinkos. Now it's like, oh my God, I got caught up in a trend and I cut my fucking genitals off. It's not the same shit, you fucking retards. These virtue signaling clown shows who use their kids as accessories to try and score points with their other leftist retard friends. They're not parents. They're fucking failed human beings. I can't stand the idea that you would take the weakest and most vulnerable of us and do things because you either want to score social points or you somehow got the idea in your head that a fucking 3-year-old knows they were born in the wrong body that cause permanent life-destroying changes. And just doing that, and the assholes who are out there saying, well, schools have a right to keep this from your parents. Schools that the government should be able to take your kids away if you refuse to acknowledge their pronouns. No, they fucking shouldn't. The government should be involved as minimally as possible in all of our day-to-day lives, especially when it comes to how you want to raise your fucking kids. That it takes a village horse shit that was put forward by Hillary Clinton is just a fucking means for those garbage human beings to justify their destructive anti-human agendas. It's fucking sickening. I can't stand these fucking people. Again, once you're an adult and you've lived enough life where you can make an educated and informed decision with an understanding of what consequences are, which realistically most kids in their late teens, early 20s don't carry that fucking thing, because these are the same people saying 18-year-olds are too stupid to pay their college loans back because they didn't understand what they were getting into. But if they want to go have permanent life-altering surgeries, that's perfectly reasonable. Another comment from McShane. His youngest came home from school one day at 14 and said he identified it as a attack helicopter, and some teacher praised him for his identity. That's... you know what? Good on your kid, brother. I'm sure the kids are going to be all right. I mean, you can identify as an attack helicopter all you want, but you're not going to be able to spit bullets or drink diesel. So reality is going to interject at some point. But I think your kid was probably being a smartass just based on the fact that it's your fucking kid. So good on you. You did good. And today's recipe is Irish bread pudding with a whiskey cream. And this is just something I threw together years ago for a St. Patrick's Day luncheon. And it turned out really good, so I decided I like it, and I'm going to do it on a regular basis. Now, it's pretty simple. It makes a really big-ass pan of bread pudding, but you're going to go through it. It's delicious. It's going to be very good. But it's for the home version of this recipe, you're going to use a 9x13 pan, and it's going to be good. It's going to be some work. You're going to like it. It's going to be delicious. You're going to serve it on holidays or some shit. And realistically, it's like I said, this is an Irish style bread pudding. It's not Irish because we're not in Ireland. I'm from the Midwest. It's a Midwest Irish style bread pudding. Oh, I'm rambling. Okay, so Irish bread pudding with a whiskey cream sauce. For the bread pudding, you're going to need 1.5 pounds of Pullman loaved bread. That's, just your standard fucking sandwich bread. That is called a Pullman loaf. Congratulations, you learned something today. So you're going to take 1.5 pounds, which is realistically, it's one of the big ass, like Aunt Annie's loaves of bread, 24 ounces. It's usually like 26 slices of bread, give or take, if you're counting the heels. Yes, use the heels out of the bread. I know some people are like, I don't like the heels. They have too much crust, or the bread bud, if that's what you prefer to call them. Use the whole fucking loaf. That's the point this comes down to. So you're going to cut that into cubes. Now, obviously, unless you're buying it from a cool bakery, it's going to be a pre-sliced loaf of bread. So realistically, you just got to stack them up. I do like 4 slices at a time. Cut them into three pieces one way, 3 pieces the other way. You get 9 pieces out of each slice of bread. That's about the size cubes I usually cut them into. You want to cut them smaller, fine. I mean, do more work, whatever. It doesn't really matter because when you mix everything together, it's all going to kind of turn into this big mush before you bake it. So that just helps with the absorption and the even distribution of the ingredients, is cutting them into cubes. So after that, you're going to take 1 1/8 cup of raisins, a half a cup of Jameson, 1 1/8 cup sliced almonds, 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Oh, I can't read that. No, I'm sorry, that's 5. It did say 4.5, but 5 large eggs plus 1 extra yolk. Let's see, 1 pint of whole milk, 1 1/2 pints of heavy cream. That is, let's see, 2 tablespoons. I'm wrong line. 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 3/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, and 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, plus a little bit extra to grease the pan with. So what you're going to do is, like I said, you're going to take your chopped up, your diced up bread, you're going to put it in a big ass bowl. You're going to add in the raisins, the sliced almonds, and that's it. You're going to put all that shit together. In a separate bowl, you're going to combine the sugar, the cinnamon, the eggs, the whole milk, the heavy cream, the vanilla extract, the nutmeg, kosher salt, and you're going to melt the butter and pour it in there, and you're going to mix the shit all together so you get like kind of like a custard mixture, okay? And then you're going to grease your 9x13 pan, and you're going to take the custard mixture, you're going to pour it over your dry shit in the bowl. Then you're going to stir it around and mix it so it combines and it coats and it soaks into all of that bread, and it's going to kind of soak into the raisins and stuff too. And you're going to take and you're going to transfer all that stuff into your pan, and you're going to kind of mush it into the pan, but you don't want to press it overly much, but you don't want it real loose either. You kind of want it like a homogeneous mass in the pan. You're going to pop it in the oven. You're going to bake it at 350 degrees for approximately 45 minutes to an hour. What you're going to do is you're going to take it, you're going to pull it out. It's going to get really brown and crusty on the top. You're going to stick a toothpick or a sharp knife into the middle. You're going to pull it out. When it comes out clean, it's done. And you're going to take it out. If it comes out and there's a bunch of wet shit stuck to the blade or stuck to the toothpick, you put it back in. Baking 101. I mean, ovens vary, so there's going to be some variation in there. While your shit is baking in the oven, you're going to make your sauce. With your sauce, you're going to take 1.5 cups plus 2 tablespoons. So you do with that what you will. Whole milk. You're going to take 1 split vanilla bean, 2 large egg yolks, 3.5 tablespoons of sugar, and 3/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And you're going to combine them in a small saucepan, and you're going to whisk them gradually, heating them over a medium-low heat until it begins to thicken. That is going to be your sauce. Now, you're going to take that. I forgot the Jameson. Okay. You are also going to add 1/4 cup of Jameson to your sauce. And also the half cup of Jameson that's mixed in with all the wet ingredients for the bread pudding. I don't think I stated that, but yeah. Anyway, although like I said, wet ingredients include a half cup of Jameson. I'm really screwing the pooch on this one. I apologize, guys. Anyway, so while your bread pudding is baking, you're going to make your sauce. Your sauce is going to thicken into you want what they call a nap, where you dip a spoon into it, you lift it out, and it will coat the back of the spoon evenly and smoothly. You don't want to overcook it. You don't want to cook it real hot because the eggs will scramble and then you'll just have fakakta. You're basically making a really light custard sauce with this. Now, when the sauce is thickened, you take it off the heat, you set it off to the side. When your bread pudding, as it comes out of the oven, you're going to pour the sauce over the top. Now, one of the things about the bread pudding is you can bake it and it'll cook faster if you don't cover it. I actually prefer the texture. You get a better, moister product if you bake it wrapped and covered. Now, I personally use a sheet of parchment paper and then put a piece of foil over the top to seal it down. You can use just plain foil too if you don't have parchment paper. It will work. But you want to trap that moisture in there so it kind of steams the pudding as it cooks. And then take the top off for like the last 15 minutes so you get a nice crust on the top. And then you're going to pour the sauce over the top and you're going to hold it and you can serve it hot. Or you can let it get cold, and it's good cold too. But realistically, it's that kind of dessert you want to serve hot. So that's the recipe. I will try and make the instructions make more sense than what I just said as I'm trying to incoherently babble into this microphone so you guys can hear the recipe. And like I said, hopefully everybody enjoys it. It's another good one. I need to update the webpage with probably the last 4 episodes worth of recipes. That's on me. I screwed the pooch. I just got caught up doing a bunch of other stuff, trying to get the spice line off the ground, and honestly, I forgot. It's a new thing. I still forget things. I'm still a putz. I owe you guys better than that. I apologize. thank you for your support. And yeah, so that's the recipe. It's good. Oh yeah, by the way, I should probably give you guys an update on the spice thing. I don't know why I didn't. Again, there's a lot going on. My mind's going a million different directions all at once. The Kickstarter has actually reached our initial goal. We are at, as of time of recording, should I close the tab? We're at like 107% of our fundraising goal. We're just under $3,000 on the Kickstarter alone. Plus, I do have a personal check to add to the amount. So we're actually a little over $3,000 in what we're fundraising for the spice line. So yeah, it's happening. It's gonna happen. We hit our goal. There's still 15 days left as of the time of this recording for additional people to contribute to it. Let's see, including the check that I have not added to the total yet, we are at $2,926 pledged towards our goal. So yeah, we hit the number. It's going to happen. Huge thank you to all those people who are already pledged. If you can't afford to pledge, I understand times are tight for everybody. If you can give it a share, throw it out there so people can check it out, and every little bit helps. The more I get, the more I can do to begin with. You go to emberforgespices.com. It will take you to the Kickstarter link where you can sign up to pledge to support the project. You can share that on your socials. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell people you don't fucking like. I don't discriminate. Everybody's pennies spend the same. And I cannot say enough to the people who have backed this project, because with a couple of notable exceptions, everybody that is on that list is somebody that listens to this show. So I owe you guys a special thank you for supporting my project and helping me get this business off the ground. Hopefully this blows up. Hopefully this is huge. I would love to make this what I do for the rest of my life. I would love to just be able to produce things and share my creations with the world. I spent a long time not thinking that was going to be the case. Thinking, I was just going to be another drone. I was going to work a job, work for somebody else for the rest of my life. But this is kind of a dream for me. And if we can get this off the ground, and if I can make a run of this, it will mean the world to me. And you guys really mean a lot to me for helping me do this and supporting me in this case. So thank you all so very much. It means so much to me that you guys believe in me this much. And like I said, unless there's anything else in the chat, I'm going to put a pin in it now and say that's what I had to say.